Hello everyone, my name is Neha and today I am going to give you an overview of non-financial private corporate sector. We also call it NFPC sector. But before moving further, disclaimer. This presentation is for educational use only and should not be considered as a comprehensive documented guide on this subject. Now before going and seeing that what NFPC sector is, we need to have an overview of the total economy. As you may be aware, that economy is comprised of resident institutional units, and these resident institutional units are grouped into 5 mutually exclusive sectors. So when we say economy, it is comprised of 5 institutional sectors, and these sectors are mutually exclusive of each other. These sectors are: first is the non-financial corporations, then we have the financial corporations, then we have general government, then we have household, and the fifth one is non-profit institution serving household. Now let us see what the non-financial corporation is and what is the difference between the non-financial corporation and financial corporation. When we say non-financial corporation, it comprises of entities which are principally engaged in the production of market goods and services which are non-financial in nature, while financial corporation are engaged in activities which are financial in nature. So if you want to see the examples of non-financial corporations, so let's say there is a company which is manufacturing TV or AC or laptop, then it is a non-financial corporation. But if there is a bank, insurance company, etc., which are providing us the financial services, then it will be classified under the financial corporation. And within the general government, we have different ministries which are providing us law and order, etc., and other ministries which are providing us the non-market goods. That is, they are providing their goods or services at a price which is economically insignificant. So the main difference between the corporations and the general government is that corporations are providing their output at a market prices, that is, which are economically significant prices. They are having their profit component into it, and the general government is providing its services at non-market prices, that there is no profit component in it. And then we have the household sector and the non-profit institution serving household. There are two subsectors of the non-financial corporation, one being the public and second being the private. So today we are going, this presentation is all about the second subsector, that is non-financial private corporations. When we go deeper into the details of non-financial private corporate sector or the NFPC sector, the non-financial private corporate sector is comprised of 3 types of entities or companies. The first being the non-financial private companies registered with MC under the Companies Act. Second being the limited liability partnership firms registered under the LLP Act. And third being the enterprises which are unincorporated in nature and which work as if they are corporates and maintain complete set of accounts. These are called the quasi-corporate in national account. So NFPC sector is comprised of non-financial private companies, second is the limited liability partnership firms, and third is the quasi-corporate. Earlier in the presentation, we have seen that total economy is comprised of 5 institutional sectors, but in national accounts in India, the household sector and NPIS sectors are clubbed together and presented under the institutional sector of household. So if you want to see the contribution of these institutional sectors in the total economy, to see the significance of each institutional sector, then here for the comparison I have presented data for the gross value added at 2018-19 for the year 2018-19 at current prices. So share of the household and non-profit institution serving household, it comprises of more than 40% of the total share. Then the second biggest sector is the non-financial corporation, which has share of around 40%. And the third biggest is the general government with 10%, and then we have the financial corporation which has a contribution of around 5% in the total GVA, that is the gross value added at the current prices. We have seen earlier that under Non-financial private corporate sector, we have the companies which are registered under the Companies Act. And if we see the size or the volume of these companies, then as per the Ministry of Corporate Affairs annual report of 2018-19, there are more than 18 lakh companies which are registered under MCA. And out of this, there are more than 11 lakh companies which are the active companies. By active companies, we mean that these companies are running their operations within the financial year. And out of these 11 lakh companies, around 7 lakh companies register their data on the MCA 21 portal every year. We will see what the MCA 21 portal is in the later slides. So there are more than 7 lakh companies which are providing their data to MCA every year. So this is a huge data set of company information. So up to now we have seen that we have a total economy under which we have the 5 institutional sectors, and non-financial corporation is one of the institution sector of the total economy, and within non-financial corporation we have the non-financial private corporation, which is the subsector of non-financial corporation. And within the non-financial corporation we have the companies, we have the limited liability partnership firms, and also the quasi corporation. So in this presentation, actually we are going to see in detail the methodology that from for the company's data, how we prepare the estimates. And we have also seen the size of the companies, that there are total 18 lakh registered companies in MCA. Out of this, 11 lakh companies are active companies, and out of these 11 lakh companies, 7 lakh companies are the reporting companies. By reporting companies, we mean that these companies report their data to MCA every year. Now let us see that what is the source of the data for the non-finance private corporate sector. In 2011-12 series of national accounts, National Account Division has tapped the rich data source of the companies, which is MCA 21 database. MCA 21 database is actually a e-project under which all the companies registered under the MCA has to provide their information of profit and loss account, balance sheet, and other annual returns in an e-portal, which is MCA 21. So MCA 21 is a database of companies, and MCA 21 database is the prime source of data for companies and LLPs which NAD use for the estimation of companies, estimation of various macroeconomic aggregates of the companies. And for a particular year, if there are some major companies which have not reported their data under the MCA 21 database, then to fill those data gap, we use the CMI database as the secondary source, and frequency of both the data are annual. Companies report its data to MCA in two formats, one being the XBRL and other being the non-XBRL. The full form of XBRL is Extensible Business Reporting Language. It is a framework used for exchanging the business information. The companies report their data under the two formats depending on their listing status, the paid up capital, turnover, and the rules under which the company are preparing their financial statement. That is, it is Companies Accounting Standard Rule 2006 or Company Indian Accounting Standard Rule 2015. While reporting data under the XBRL format, companies use different taxonomies. So taxonomy is basically an electronic dictionary of the accounting concepts that may be used by a company to prepare and present their accounts. So the main taxonomies used are the C&I taxonomy and other being the Ind AS taxonomy. So in total we received data for the MCA in the three formats, one being the non-XBRL format or the AOC format, and the other being the XBRL format under the C&I taxonomy, and third being the XBRL format under the Ind AS taxonomy. Here I have analyzed the data of 2017-18 reporting companies, and if we see that out of total companies, more than 90% of the companies are reporting their data through non-XBRL format, while the share of non-XBRL companies in the total GVA is less than 25%, while out of total reporting companies, less than 10% companies are reporting their data in XBRL format, while their share is more than 75%. So we can see that though in numbers the share of non-XBRL companies is more, while in terms of GVA or the gross value added, the share of XBRL company is way more. Now the question arises that how we uniquely identify a company. For this, each company is being given a SIN number. This is also the meaning of the SIN is that the company identification number. This is a 21-digit number, where the first digit provides us the listing status of the company, where the L means that the company is listed while the U means that the company is unlisted. The next 5 digit gives us the industry code as per the NIC. The next 2 digits are the state code where the company is registered. And the next 4 digit give us the detail of the incorporation year of the company. And after those, the 3 digit is the information that company is private limited or public limited or the unlimited liability. And the last 6 digits are the company number given by registrar of the company. So in this example, this is a listed company because the first digit is L, and the next 5 digit give us the industry code, and this company is registered under the Maharashtra as the state code is MH. Then we have the incorporation year that this company has been registered under, in the year 1907, and this is the public limited company, and the company number is 000260. Before we move forward and see that how the MCA data that is being reported to NAD looks like, we need to have an understanding that what the balance sheet and profit and loss accounts are. Each year, a company reports its data in the profit and loss account and the balance sheet account for the 2 years, that is for current year and for the previous year. This is a typical example of a balance sheet of a company where the assets have been reported for 2 years, as on the 31st March 2019 and as on 31st March 2018. So the balance sheet is basically a snapshot of the company, giving the information of asset and liability of a company for 2 years, that is one for the current year and one for the previous year. And if we want to have an idea that what is the increase and decrease of the asset and liability within a year, so we need to take a difference of the current year minus what was the value at the previous year. So similarly, when we get data under the MCA, we get data for the 2 years. One is for the current year and one is for the previous year. So this is the structure of data that we get from the MCA. As I have already explained, that data is received for 2 years. One is for the current year and other is for the previous year. And we have already seen that the data is reported under the 2 format, one being the XBRL and second being the non-XBRL. And the XBRL data within the XBRL is at the greater disaggregation, while in the non-XBRL the data being received at the less disaggregation. These data are received under various phases. For XBRL format, phase 1 data comprises of profit and loss data and the aggregated balance sheet. Under phase 2 and phase 3 detailed balance sheet data and capital formation variables are available. While for non-XBRL format, complete data is received in one go but with less disaggregation. So we have different financial variables for XBRL and non-XBRL, from which we derive the estimates of a company. Now let us see how the data looks like. This is the data that we receive from the MCA. As we have seen that we received 3 types of data from the MCA. One is under the Ind AS taxonomy, other is under the C&I taxonomy, and then we have data under the non-XBRL format. So this is the format of the data. First we have the XBRL. In this we'll be having SIN of a company, then we'll be having the revenue, different financial variables like revenue from sale of product, revenue from sale of services, excise duty, service tax, etc. Then we have the Ind AS format. Here also we'll be having SIN and type of company. Then we have different financial variable related to each company. So for each company we get data for different financial variables. So let's say for a company A, what is its revenue, what is its different input cost, what is its output, what is its profit, and what is the asset and liability. And also for the non-XBRL, we have the company-wise information of all the financial variables. So this is the format. The data is being received in the Excel format, and this is being processed under the SPSS by NAD. So for each company, the estimates are being prepared of output, input, GVA, saving, capital formation, etc. And the reference document that is being used is the final report of subcommittee on private corporate sector, including triple Ps. We also called it Goldar subcommittee report, as Shri B. Goldar was the chairman of this committee. The estimates of the companies are compiled on the production approach basis, where gross value added is derived as gross value of output less intermediate consumption. The detailed formulas can be seen in the mentioned reference. Here for the XBRL and non-XBRL, detailed formulas for compiling the output, input and GVA etc. are given. For preparing the estimates, following steps are being used. As we have already seen that data is being received for each company. After data is received from the MCA, activity code is given. Activity code is basically that that company is engaged in which economic activity. These codes are in accordance to the compilation category which are being reported under the National Accounts Statistics. So let's say there is a company A. If it is engaged in the manufacturing activity, then the relevant economic code is given to it. If the company B is engaged in the road transport sector, then it is given a economic code according to that. And similarly, all the companies are given a activity code. Within NAD, we maintain a master file that each company, what is its activity, what the activity code it is engaged in, or what the principal economic activity it is doing. So we have a master frame. So after receiving a complete list of companies from the MCA, we merge the file with the master file, and each company is given a code according to the master file, which is being updated periodically. If there are some new companies which are being appeared for the first time in the reported data, then the information that this new company is engaged in which principal economic activity, we use the information provided by MCA under their different other forms like MGT 7 and MGT 9, and also we use the information from the CMIE and from their website. And if the company is unlisted and no other information is available, then the NIC code, which is embedded in the SIN number, is being used to classify a company under the relevant economic activity. After insertion of activity code to each company, private companies are segregated from all the reporting companies. Since MCA provides us the list of companies which are the non-financial public corporate, and which are the total list of the companies with so from the total list provided by the MCA, the companies which are under the control of the government, also called the non-departmental enterprises, and also the companies which are engaged in the financial activities, also called as financial corporation, are removed from the total list of companies. So the remaining list will be of the non-financial private companies. So we will see that how the estimates of these non-financial private companies are being prepared. As per the release calendar of GDP decided by the National Account Division, each year estimates for 3 years are published in the 31st January press release. Let's say if we are in a year T, then the estimates of year T-1, T-2 and T-3 will be published. And these are called the first revised estimate, second revised estimate and the third revised estimates. So in the month of January 2021, there will be first revised estimates of financial year 2019-20, second revised estimate of financial year 2018-19 and third revised estimate of financial year 2017-18. Different methodologies are adopted for compiling the estimates of first revised estimate, second revised estimate and the third revised estimates based on the data availability at that time. The coverage gets improved as we go from the first revised estimates to third revised estimates. Now let us see that how the second and third revised estimates of the companies are being prepared. For this, the following steps are involved. First, in this method, company-wise estimates of output, input, GVA, etc. are aggregated on the basis of economic activity. This exercise is done for PTC companies and PLC companies separately. Thus, we arrived at the economic activity-wise estimate of all the reporting companies. Now, to cater for the missing active companies in the reported data, all the aggregated estimates are multiplied by a multiplication factor. At present, multiplication factor is based on paid up capital or PUC. Two multiplication factor are calculated for PTC companies and the other for the PLC companies respectively. These are derived as the division of PUC of all PTC or PLC active companies registered with MCA with the PUC of all reporting PTC or PLC companies. After multiplying estimates of reporting companies with this factor, we get the estimate of active companies. Now, this PTC and PLC estimates are added together to give the economic activity-wise estimates of companies registered under the Companies Act. LLP estimates are similarly compiled and these are added separately to give us the total estimates of at the All India level. Now let us discuss the methodology used for preparing the first revised estimates. For the first revised estimate, since the number of reporting companies are limited, so first common set of companies in current and previous years are identified. Economic activity and PLC PTC wise estimates of these companies are obtained for the current and previous year. Now we compute the growth of current year estimates over the previous year estimates and we apply these growth rates on the final second revised estimates to get the first revised estimates of all the active companies. So for the second revised estimate, we use the method of multiplication factor in which first we derive the estimates of the reporting companies and then to cater for the missing companies, we multiply these estimates with a multiplication factor to arrive at the total estimates of the total active companies. And in the first RE estimate, we use the method of the growth of common companies. In this, we calculate the growth of common companies in the current year vis-a-vis previous year, and then we apply these growth rates to the final numbers of the second revised estimate. Thus, we have discussed that how we compile the estimates for the second revised estimate and the first revised estimate. For the third revised estimate, the method of the second revised estimates remain same, just the coverage of the companies changes. Following constraints are being identified in the non-financial private corporate sector, one being of the classification. Classifying a company under various economic activity is really difficult because sometimes the information that under which activity the company is engaged in is not available, and also there is a regional allocation also poses problem as the state-wise list of the company is not available, and some companies are registered in one state and may be working in the other state, as well as there are some multi-state companies and information of their businesses in various states is not available. The third constraint is that sometimes the data is received very late, so there are delays in the receipt of the data from the MCA side. And the fourth constraint is the data issue, that sometimes data while being validated there are some missing fields in the data, and also there are definitional issues that one company uses one definition and the other company uses other definition, and also there are some abnormally high or low figures when compared to their past numbers. So these are some data issues which are getting reflected when we do the data validation thing. And then we have presently the multiplication factor is based on the PUC. So we can identify some new variables, economic variables, which can be used to derive the multiplication factor. So these are some of the constraints that are being identified at present. So to resolve these constraints, some solutions which has been identified may be adopted in the next base year revision exercises. First, for the classification, we may use the MGT information available from the MCA, also from the internet, and also from the other various sources may be used for the reclassifying companies under the various economic activities. And for the regional allocation, data of the economic census, GST, business register being maintained by state DS, etc. may be used. And the variables which go into the computation of the input variables or the output variables may be re-examined in the wake of the new taxonomies, though it is done periodically, but to give an overhaul of all the latest taxonomy, we may re-examine the variables. And also the multiplication factor based on different economic variable like turnover, fixed asset, capital employed, etc. are being evaluated within the NAD. So these new multiplication factors may be used under the next base year revision exercise. So that's it for the non-financial private corporate sector. Hope you may have got some insights into how the estimates of non-financial private corporate sector are being compiled in the National Account Division. Thank you.